the Golden State Warriors.
To the Golden State Warriors.
The Golden State Warriors.
The Golden State Warriors are nothing short of an absolute mess this offseason. And look, I'm not being dramatic, this is the exact situation the Warriors and the Warriors only put themselves in. It was only 3 years ago the Warriors were at the top of the NBA world, but it has been a downward spiral ever since. And no, it's not because Draymond punched Jordan Poole or Klay Thompson declined, no, it's for another reason. But before we even get into that, let's see what Golden State's done this offseason to boost their chances of contention. They've done absolutely nothing. However, it's not their complete incompetence that they've got nothing done, no, because they actually have a reason behind this. Whether it's a good reason, though, is a different story. Jonathan Kuminga was the 7th overall pick in 2021 for the Warriors and was supposed to be part of what they called the two-timeline plan. Now, this two-timeline plan was where they gained multiple high picks during the injury hiatus of stars that led their dynasty, so they can have 2 generations of contending teams on their roster at once. And while they did win another championship in 2022, it wasn't because of the second timeline, but more a reincarnation of the first and Andrew Wiggins. However, there was still a lot of hope that their young stars such as Moses Moody, James Wiseman, and Jonathan Kuminga were the future of this dynasty. But now as we look back 3 years later, it seems that each individual young talent for the Warriors at this time had a different story of failure and disappointment with the team. And perhaps the biggest name prospect with the most expectation failed the hardest, and that was James Wiseman. Because the one thing the Warriors always lacked in their dynasty was a real all-star level center. And while his talents were relatively raw, his combination of agility and size warranted the Warriors to take him with a 2nd overall pick. Unfortunately, this selection set the Warriors back a couple years, and those raw talents never really translated, and a couple injuries and years later, and he was off the team. Now you have Moses Moody, who was drafted 14th overall in that same draft as Kuminga. And over the years, he's really just not improved as a player. His minutes have gone up, his efficiency has declined, and he's really just been an average role player at best. And just like that, their only hope for that 2nd generation timeline is Kuminga. And while overall he hasn't lived up to that 7th overall pick hype, there's occasional flashes of potential stardom. And believe me, those flashes were very few and far between, but that was enough for the Warriors to keep sticking with him. But now with this offseason, the Warriors are officially at a crossroads with Kuminga, because he's now a restricted free agent. And in case you're unfamiliar what exactly that means, let me explain. So unlike unrestricted free agency, where a player can choose a contract from whatever team they want, restricted free agency is a little more limited. Teams around the league can offer Kuminga, in this case, a contract, but if the Warriors decide to top those offers, they forcibly bring Kuminga back. Now here's the catch though, because due to all the insane contracts we've seen handed out recently, little to no teams actually have the cap space to make a real offer. No team's willing to take on the extended cap Kuminga brings in, and Golden State doesn't want to give him the value he thinks he deserves. Around a week ago, Kuminga reportedly declined a 2-year, $45 million deal from the Warriors, and he's making it clear just how much money a team would have to throw at him in a qualifying offer. And because of this, Golden State doesn't have any qualifying offers to match from another team, and will probably be forced to deal Kuminga. And this idea that Kuminga would settle for the low ball in the offseason made the Warriors miss out on a ton of key free agents that they could have got to improve their roster. And now what's left on this team is an aging core, below average to average role players at best, and now they don't even have a center. Steph is 37, and Draymond and Jimmy Butler are 35. This team is not getting better, and they're not even close to being a tier 1 team in the West. And now with Kuminga out the door, what are the Warriors banking on for them to improve? Listen, I know I'm about to be crucified by Steph fans here, but he's declining, and there's no doubt about it. You see flashes of that old Steph, but he's just not as consistent to a night-to-night basis. He had multiple single-digit games, and he's just not as fast and shifty as he used to be. And I think only because it's Steph Curry that his $59 million a year contract is sliding. He's 37 years old. Nobody should be getting that type of money at that age. NBA discourse absolutely attacks LeBron for taking the money so late in his career, but no one bats an eye with Steph. Because let's be real, that contract on the books prevented the Warriors from making any moves in this offseason. But it's not even like that contract's really preventing the Warriors from doing anything. They've done absolutely nothing this offseason, not even thrown a minor contract at a vet center like Al Horford. And time again, even in their best years, the Warriors haven't had a competent center to compete with other teams. I mean, small ball is fun and all until Rudy Gobert drops 20 and 15 on your head. Listen, I know the Steph injury was a huge reason why the Warriors couldn't beat the Timberwolves, but even despite that, Minnesota was having their way in a non-existent Golden State paint defense. And this was pretty much the same issue the Lakers were having, but they were actually able to kind of put it together in the offseason and get DeAndre Ayton. And I know a lot of people clown on Ayton, but at least he's something. Shit, the Warriors basically have 2 options here. It's rather A, sign a 98-year-old Al Horford, or B, put Draymond on stilts. And speaking of Draymond, Warriors fans better pray that he doesn't knock out Jimmy Butler Butler by the All-Star break. But seriously, all jokes aside, the Western Conference is looking better and more formidable than ever. You have the Thunder and the Spurs who look like potential dynasties. Houston just got KD, the Nuggets look revamped and have the best player in the world, and you have so many other teams that could be possible contenders. The point is this, the Warriors are getting older and their surroundings are getting better. There's just no more further damage they can do in the West. The Golden State Warriors dynasty has been a remarkable era in NBA history, but it's just finally coming to a close, and that's what always happens with any of these dynasties. Whether Steph wants to ride out the end of his career in Golden State's one thing, but their contending days or their serious contending days are pretty much over. Well, that brings us to the end of the video. Share your thoughts down below, and I'd appreciate if you'd like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. But anyways, see you in the next one.